Hi everyone, Tony Tonkin here from the Child Protection Party. Glad that you could be with me on this live stream today on YouTube. We aren't doing very many YouTube, or haven't done very many YouTube videos, and so if you are new to Child Protection Party and you'd like to find out a little bit more about what it is that we do and how do we do it, and the things that may interest you around kids and outcomes for kids, please join on our YouTube channel to have a further chat to us about the things that are important to you. You can catch up on many of the videos that we produce through our live feed on Facebook. So if you haven't joined Facebook yet for the Child Protection Party and finding out what happens in relation to kids and how you can better improve the outcomes for children, then connect to our Facebook page, because we'd be more than happy to have you contributing so that we can gather as many voices as we can to discuss the issues in relation to child protection. So please join with us. If you like this video, tick so you can gather further videos as we make them, and become a part of the solution in relation to issues concerning kids. So I want to talk a little bit today just about transparency, and what does transparency look like, and how should we experience transparency within the child protection system. It's an issue which continually arises for us. It's questions we're continually asked about, and I guess it's a problem that we're endeavouring to resolve or to think about so that we can implement some appropriate resolution over time. So if you wish to contribute to this conversation after you've watched the video, please add some comments below and help us to further investigate what, in this case, transparency looks like. Now, as most of us are aware, when we're thinking about transparency, we're thinking about looking through something. So it's something that you can see like a window. We can look through the window, we can see what's on the other side. Transparency within a system is having a look to see not only what is on the other side, but also about what comes at us that represents, particularly within human services, what represents the issues that are important to us. We also want to know what people are doing, how they're doing it, whether it's effective, and whether it benefits us specifically. So these are really important aspects of the child protection system, any system in fact, any government system. We want to know that it's representing us, we want to know that it's looking after our particular needs, and we want to be able to be ensured that we have a voice within that system. That is all part of transparency. One of the things that concerns me the most is the lack of voice that comes from people who have experienced the child protection system. That is children, young children, teenagers, and children who are now adults, I guess, who have left the system. What is their voice? How do they give a voice to this system? What was helpful to them and what was unhelpful? The most interesting feedback we ever get in relation to those that work within the system is that those people that have a good relationship with clients are normally those people that are the most transparent. So I guess that means they tell the client what it is that they're doing, they act upon what it is that they're doing, they deliver the outcomes that they promise, and that they are respectful. So one of the areas that lacks the most transparency, I think, is the court system. Because within the court system we have affidavits and information offered about parents that is often contested, that we don't know where that information comes from, so that means that system itself lacks transparency. People are not told how the system works, so that lacks transparency. They're not informed about the information that will be offered to the court, and that lacks transparency. And they are often given affidavits in relation to the circumstances which meant that kids have been removed, but that doesn't necessarily mean that is transparent, because that is often offered to them too late. One of the other areas that is of concern to me, which refers to transparency also, is that when they produce documents that are meant to provide parents, caregivers and other people involved in cases an opportunity to talk about that particular case and how that has impacted them, this is really a good case of the lack of transparency, I think. So often with case plans these days, there's an area within that case plan where people are asked to be able to offer their views about certain areas in relation to the children in care. And within those case plans, normally what has been happening is that the views that have been written down and offered, which are also placed before the court, are not the views of the parents. They're an interpretation of what a worker thinks the parents' views are. Now, true transparency would offer that document to the parent so that the parent can then identify with their own words what their specific views are in relation to all of those areas that the case plan highlights. So it is important that no matter what it is that the department does, or any department for that matter, that it is totally honest, it's transparent, it's looking after the interests of all parties, including and particularly those people who are the clients. The thing that interests me about transparency, I guess, is that all the people that are supposed to be providing these services are public servants. They work for us. They're paid by the taxpayer. So they should be working in our best interest under all circumstances. And I appreciate that in the child protection system in particular, it is fraught with danger, given that it is about looking after kids that are harmed or at risk of harm. But when there are parents who are working particularly hard in order to improve their parenting and so that they can get their children back, it is in those areas that we need proper and vigilant transparency. Because what we often see is the lack of honesty around the appreciation that should be given to the work that parents do who are working towards having their kids back. So the department tends to look at it as being an anathema to them, because the parents, they believe in many cases, shouldn't have their kids back, and the parents are working really hard in order to do so. There has to be some place in the middle where we can be transparent and at least accept that under those circumstances the parent is working well, and to acknowledge when that is happening. That I've got a thumbnail that comes up at the beginning of this video, which basically says the greatest gift we can give anyone is our belief in them. Now, I believe that and I practice that, but imagine if everybody practiced that sort of principle, that we could look for the good that is in everybody and we could build on whatever that good or those positive qualities are that someone expresses. Now, to me, that is true transparency. The other thing that gets in the way of transparency are goals which sit outside of individuals, particularly individual workers. So we can have goals within the department which are not meeting the needs of kids in particular. And I guess if we just take an example of that, residential care, does residential care really offer a service to the children, to most children, that is helpful to them? The answer is clearly no. Where we lack transparency is where the department seems to accept and embrace systems that we know just do not work. Another area of lack of transparency to me is when we give verbal appreciation, or when we do things like the department will say, professionals will say that we're acting in the best interest of the child, when in actual fact, and I can name a number of clients we work with where that's not the case, where the kids are at further harm and at risk being in care than they ever were when they were with their parents. Where's the transparency in being able to confront that system and tell that system that it's wrong, or challenge those people that are making those decisions that this is unhelpful and that perhaps we could be doing something a wee bit different than what we are? There's no transparency. Where do we give feedback when we recognise the inadequacies that sit within a system and there's a sense of injustice perhaps about the way that we are treated? I have many clients who'll say to me, a worker has made a statement to me that was really unhelpful, and there is nowhere that we can go. We can raise a complaint, direct to the department, but there's nowhere outside the department. But the department themselves should be transparent. They should be able to accept those complaints for what they are. They accept notifications for what they are, and that results in the removing of children. Why can't we make notifications about workers in a way that also may mean their removal? So if we have one system for one, why don't we have it for the other? True transparency is being able to operate under the same system and same values throughout the whole system, not just in one particular area. So there are many areas that we can confront in relation to transparency. I've just given you a few areas that concern me. I'm sure you've got some areas that may concern you. If you wish to talk about them further, just sort of fill in the comments area down below, like the video, subscribe to the Child Protection Party, and you'll see more of these videos over time talking about some of these really important areas. So thank you very much for being with us. I hope you will continue to watch the videos at the Child Protection Party, and if you can, join us and help us to advocate for kids. Thanks very much.